Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This one is Demon's Crest for the SNES. And oh, check out that Capcom music. Who doesn't like that little sound in the background? Anyway, so what I'm going to do, because it's such a long and drawn out protracted intro, I'm going to let it play out, and then once it's finished, I'll start talking about the game. So as you see, a bit of a cheesy intro, but that's how it was back then, and to some degree I guess that's how it still is in games, but certainly when you go back to, you know, the 16-bit era, it was full of cheesy one-liners, and I don't know, but it kind of works. It's got that charm about it. Now, Demon's Crest, I mean, if I'm honest, I can't swear to it, but I don't think I was really aware of this game when it was originally released, which was the tail end of 1994, so relatively late on in the SNES's life, which may be why a lot of people, you know, skipped over this game, and maybe why it still commands a really high price. But, you know, when I was looking to get back into the Super Nintendo, which I now am getting back into it, I was checking out various internet forums and websites, YouTube of course, trying to figure out what games people recommend, but not just the usual ones like, you know, Zeldas, Mario Kart and all this kind of stuff. That's obvious, we all know about them. I wanted to get something like the cult games, the underground games, ones which are really good but are just underappreciated or undervalued. And one of the many that was mentioned time and time again was Demon's Crest. Now, one of the strange things about Demon's Crest, or at least I find it strange, and pretty fascinating really, is that the lead character, the guy you see now on screen, who is the one I or you, whoever will be controlling, the one who's flying around there, or who was flying around, his name is Firebrand. Now, Firebrand was a character from Ghosts and Goblins, but not just any old character from Ghosts and Goblins. He was one of the enemies, you know, one of the bad guys. So it's kind of interesting how Capcom decided to make him a leading character in a game. Now, I can't remember, no, I know for a fact I did play Ghosts and Goblins, but I can't really remember the storyline or whether he maybe turns into a good guy or not, but that is a pretty fascinating angle to come from. But, yeah, nice little touch. Now, one of the things that I love about this game is the music, so I'm going to let it play for 30-60 seconds, see what you think of it. You might hate it, but just have a listen. So this is probably the best time to come in because that music was just finishing anyway because this is a boss fight. But I don't know about you, but that music for me is stunning, and even more so when you think that, you know, it's going back to the early 90s, the Super Nintendo days. And I just think, that was absolutely amazing. And the music throughout the game's fantastic. You know, it's not the same songs for every different level. For every level, you know, it's a different song for each level, and I just think it's absolutely fantastic. Sound effects are great. Yeah, it's just a great game. Now, this is a boss fight. Now, I will say, when I first tried to fight this particular guy, if you want to call him a guy, whatever he is, it was hard work. And that is pretty indicative of the game in general. This is a tough game. Now, I don't know whether, you know what it's like with your rose-tinted nostalgic glasses. I don't know whether it used to be, you know, gaming in general, whether it used to be really hard and games have got easier, or whether I'm just rubbish at this game going back to it. But I think games were much harder back then, because I was really surprised. I mean, some of these bosses, you know, I mean, ultimately they probably will have a pattern which, once you've figured it out, makes things a lot easier. But really, it's a challenge, and I like that. But it was frustrating. I mean, I was honestly, maybe naively, expecting to put the SNES on, and this game, or any game for that matter, and just thinking, oh, this is going to be a breeze. But it wasn't. It was hard work. But that's good. It's challenging. It makes you come back to it. Now, let's talk a little bit about the graphics. Now, perhaps this level, I mean, these things look like watermelons underneath. I think they're probably Venus flytraps. But either way, you take that aside, which looks a little bit dodgy. The graphics are just absolutely fantastic, particularly once again when you take into account the age of the game. And I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on the 16-bit era, but I didn't realise it looked as good as this. You know, your memory plays tricks with you and you get so acclimatised and so accustomed to modern graphics that you kind of look back at old games and you kind of scoff at them really. But this, you can't scoff at this, it looks fantastic. I love the graphics, I love in the background the little mountains, the hills. It just looks so good, and it's continuous, you know, throughout the game. Absolutely brilliant. Of course, graphics are not essential when it comes to a good game, but, you know, it helps. And when you've got a game which looks, like I say, aesthetically fantastic, such as this, and when the sound is as good as it is, and when it plays as good as it does, you know, you've just got the perfect game. And it doesn't matter, you know, that it's not out for the PlayStation 3 or the 360. It's enjoyable, it's fun, and ultimately, that's what gaming is all about. And that's one of the reasons I've kind of got back into, you know, retro games, particularly the SNES, because I want to try and rediscover that fun factor in gaming, because it's kind of disappeared a little bit for me, really, with current gen games. They're so serious, and I just kind of want to chill out a little bit, and I just, you know, just what it was like when we were kids. Well, if you're around about my age anyway, and you had a SNES back in the day. Let's talk a little bit about the controls now. And as you can probably see, Firebrand, the guy who we're controlling, he can hover or fly. Now, it does make... I mean, I've got to wonder sometimes as this second boss comes up. I'll check this out, what he's saying, by the way, as well. I've watched your progress, and I'm glad I shall be the one to put an end to your petty crusade. I believe you have heard of me. I am Armour. Unbelievable. Yeah, that wasn't exactly the greatest acting by me either. Now, I touched upon the fact that you can fly in this game, or hover. Or fly and hover. Now, it almost makes walking, you know, along the platforms a little bit redundant at times. Almost, but not quite. You can technically fly from one end to the other, you know, and get to the end of the level. However, you know, and you can fight bosses that way. So it's somewhat cheating the system, but you will have to at some stage go back and pick up things which are on the ground. So it's, you know, you're wasting your time by just going from one end to the other, because at some stage you will have to go back and collect things, such as even just replenishing your energy and collecting potion bottles for spells which you can buy in stores. Now, I don't think I have that feature of going into a shop or a store, whatever, on this game, but you can do it, and I'll touch upon that a little bit more as to the location when it comes up, probably in a minute or two, I'm not quite certain. So that's that boss out of the way, and they are quite challenging, like I say. That one took a fair bit of manoeuvring around and, you know, shooting him in the right place at the right time. So here he is, I've got rid of him for now. I haven't killed him because he's just going to fly off. There he goes, and I think, does he leave a crystal or something? Leaves me a little crystal, which, there we go. You have found the crest of Earth. With it, you can morph into G Gargoyle. Now, that's another interesting little thing. G Gargoyle was another enemy in Ghosts and Goblins, I believe. I'm probably getting all this wrong, but I think that was the case. And I'll touch upon that in a second. Now, this is the Mode 7 thing. Now, this really works. You really get a sense of actually flying, albeit on a 16-bit console. But I was really surprised. I thought it would be rubbish. When it started, I thought, oh, this is going to be dreadful. And I really enjoyed it. I just loved just flying around back and forth. It just felt great. Now, the fantastic thing about that map there that you saw is you can go wherever you want. It's not predetermined for you. You know, if you want to go to this level, you can. I could have chosen another one. So you can do them in whatever order you want, which really adds a lovely little touch to it. But as I was going to say a second ago, the G Gargoyle thing, and I kind of remembered to do it here. As you can see, press the select button, or the start button, and you can essentially change into a different character, I should say. Character? It's one of them. Change into a different character, and they have different strengths and weaknesses. So this guy can't fly, so I thought in my infinite wisdom, I'll change back to Firebrand, and I will fly over the top of this thing. And then I realised I couldn't. And it's these little touches which have RPG elements, which I really, really like. You know, the fact that you can use potions and you can use spells and you can buy things and weapons and you can change characters. And I just really like that. It's such an ingenious game. I honestly, maybe there's hundreds out there like that, or like this for the SNES, but this to me is just one of the... I don't know, I'm just wax lyrical about it. I just think it's a really, really good game. The downside is it can be pretty pricey. You know, you're looking at around about... Well, I don't know, let me think. I got it for $67 including shipping. But if you're not bothered about having the box and having the instructions, then I guess you can probably pick this up, you know, just as a loose cart for perhaps, I don't know, $15, $20? Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But for me, I just like... Maybe I'm just a bit of a completist, but I like the idea of having the box, the instructions and everything. And it's a rare game, so why not go the whole hog? Now, it's funny, because when I was flying around here, I remembered one of the things you could do, so I thought I'd try it out. And it's nothing particularly important in the scheme of things. However, let me do it any second now. There you go, you can smash the windows, how amazing! When I first did it, I was genuinely like, oh, it's amazing, you can smash, you can do anything, this is, wow, what a game. You know, like I said, I've just been wax lyrical about it. Everything about it, I just absolutely loving. But yeah, essentially here what you're doing is you're just collecting, I guess, various health potions and whatever to help you on your travels. So here I am again as Firebrand. I think I change any second now. I think I'm there pressing the buttons, remembering how do you do it again. Just press start and then do it. Now this, like I say, is changed back into Gargoyle. I believe there's another one. I don't know if there's more than one more, but the other one you can control is an aerial Gargoyle who has more of like a purple wings and like kind of a really turquoisey appearance. So again, 3 completely different characters. I mean, look at the animation as well on them ghosts that are flying. This just looks fantastic. It's unbelievable. I tell you what, I'm really getting back into the SNES and such an appreciation for it. It's just arguably, oh, I'm just going to say, it's the greatest console ever. There you go, I've said it. In my opinion, of course. And I'm including current gen stuff, which may be a little bit mental, but I don't know, I just love the Super Nintendo and everything it stands for. I love that era of like the early 90s anyway, so stuff like this is just, I'm always going to like. But like I said, the RPG elements to it, I'm really fond of. And it really brings a new dimension to the gameplay. You know, if you're particularly stuck, then, you know, change the character. If you can't fly over something, then switch back to Firebrand and you can. You know, if you're trying to hit a potion which is on the floor and you can't do it with Firebrand, then do it with the Gargoyle. This guy here. As soon as I say that, I change back into the Gargoyle. I like these little hands at the bottom of the floor as well, which kind of reach up and do pull you in if you allow it. You know, just nice little touches. A little bit gruesome, but, you know, really clever. Now, you probably have noticed that when I'm controlling Firebrand, I am shooting, unsurprisingly, fire, but that's not the only weapon you can have. You know, along the way you can collect, and I'm reading this off the instruction booklet now, but there's Buster, which has got the same range, but much more power, apparently, which also allows Firebrand to blast through stone blocks. You've got the Tornado, which allows you to reach the top areas of the screen, which can be really handy, you know, particularly if you want to get like extra potions or health, which is tucked away conveniently at the, you know, right in the top left-hand corner. But yeah, and then last up on, oh, well, there's 2 more. There's Claw, and the Claw essentially allows you to grab onto walls with spikes. Now, you kind of do that anyway, as you probably saw earlier on when I was climbing, but I guess this does it with extra clout. The Claw with extra clout. And here, stuck by them hands that I was talking about before. And then last but not least, for Firebrand anyway, is Demon Fire, which is the most powerful fire in the realm, and therefore in the game, which I've got nowhere near getting at yet. I've only got, I think, to the 3rd level, and this is this. And as you'll probably see, is the most epic fail ever. The skeleton gets Firebrand with his finger. Check it out. Death by finger. Watch this. Finger in the eye. That was amazing. Brilliant. But anyway, guys, you've really got to get this game. This is just my feelings on it, you know. It's not a professional review. It's not even a review for that matter. It's just me saying I've got this game. It's amazing. It's really challenging. It's very tough. But you've got to get it. And you've definitely got to get back into the SNES because it's great. See you later.